All right, here they come. Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Ted Barnett. People are just coming and trickling in here. We're gonna just wait for the numbers to get a little higher. So, very exciting. Where's the list here? Good evening, everyone. Once again, I'm Dr. Ted Barnett. You're at the Zoom webinar for Jumpstart information. And where's the list of people here? Oh, there it is. Got it. Okay. Attendees 20. Perfect. All right. So this is very exciting. I'm so glad so many people have come tonight. And you're here with Rochester Lifestyle Medicine Institute. I'm Dr. Ted Barnett, the high-tech doctor with low-tech solutions. Some people refer to me as Dr. Veggie. Just you can call me anything you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. And so I'm going to ask our staff to just say hello briefly. And let's see here. First of all, the guy in the mountains. Bob, you want to say something?
Sure. Hi, everybody.
Am I still on the agenda here, or did I?
No, you're doing great.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, I always turn to Bob for advice. Good. All right, Bob. Good. All right.
Yeah. Now it's my turn.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Franke. I'm the communications director at RLMI, and I engineer various things here, like Zoom webinars, and help to put together materials and videos and the things that people avail themselves of during the Jumpstart. And I am a whole food plant-based eater, and I just celebrated my 5th anniversary a few months ago, and it's been a great journey, especially with all these folks here.
Great, thanks, Bob. And then there's my wife, Carol.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carol Barnett. I'm Dr. Barnett's wife. I'm also sometimes known as Mrs. Vegan, and that's actually my email address because we've been doing this for so long that I obtained that very choice email address. So I love it. I love everything having to do with plant-based eating and cooking. So I love to share that with in both directions with everybody who's doing Jumpstart. So I'm really hoping to meet many of you out there in the next Jumpstart.
Great, thank you. And then Bubby Starin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bubby Starin. I am also a plant-based eater. I've been eating this way for years and years and years, and I am so excited to share this information with you. I also, like Carol, I love being in the kitchen and cooking and sharing food and sharing recipes and helping folks along this path to empower you to see what you have the power to do just by making some awesome food choices.
Great. Thank you, Bubby. Bubby's one of our facilitators. And Brian Bell, what have you got to say for yourself?
Yeah, hi everybody. Brian Bell here. I'm actually new to RLMI. I'll be actually starting next month. Really looking forward to that. I did go through the Jumpstart program, and I also am going through the LIFT program, which is another program that's offered. And I've been plant-based, actually vegan for 7 years. I was vegetarian prior to that. I think about the most recent 3 to 4 years, I've been plant-based, whole food plant-based, and going through the jump.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Yeah, and we'll one of the things you'll learn about is the difference between being vegan and being whole food plant-based. It's possible to be vegan basically, and you're not eating any animal products, but you can do it in a really unhealthy way. So if you're living on soda and chips, that would be considered vegan, but you're probably not going to get any healthier than you are now if you make that kind of a switch. So let me just check where we are on the agenda here. It looks like it's time for me to give the introduction. Is that right, Bob? About the Jumpstart. But before we do that, you know what I'm going to do? We're all going to reveal a little tradition that we all have when we sign on to our to the Jumpstart meetings. We always unmute ourselves, and so let's all do that, and then we say hello. So everybody on this panelist, please unmute, including Bubby. Okay. All right. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Hello.
Hello. Hi,
Hello,
everybody.
Great. All right. Thanks. Okay. Cut. So anyway, so we started Rochester Lifestyle Medicine Institute about the end of 2015, and for the purpose of actually teaching something called the CHIP program, the Complete Health Improvement Program. And I do it. It's a labor of love. I make my living as what's called an interventional radiologist, and so I do image guided procedures, and I also read a lot of X-rays and CAT scans and ultrasounds and mammograms. That's basically how I make a living. And my goal is to make it possible for other doctors or one of my goals is to make it possible for other doctors to actually make a living doing lifestyle medicine, which is so much more effective than what we are actually doing most of the time in modern medicine. Most of modern medicine is about pills and procedures. And it turns out that there's it's so much more powerful to be able to treat people with basic lifestyle interventions. Just eating the right food. I mean, most of the chronic disease that we're dealing with in this country is because of what we eat. They're foodborne illnesses. So, there's an epidemic of diabetes, heart disease, obesity, hypertension. There didn't used to be all these people with diabetes 50, 60 years ago. It's now a worldwide epidemic. There's more than 400 million people in the world with type 2 diabetes. If they were a country, they'd be the third largest country in the world. And it's really optional. And one of the things that we've learned is that not only do people not have to get it to begin with, but most people can actually reverse their diabetes if they make the right lifestyle and dietary choices. So as I mentioned, we started by teaching the CHIP program, which is a pretty long program. It's 18 sessions and it goes on for a couple of months or sometimes 3 months. And although it's a wonderful program, it's hard to get people to sign up for it. I tell people it's like getting kids into the bath. You can't get them in and then you can't get them out. So once people do CHIP, they really like it. But so we thought, let's people how much fun this is, how practical it is, and how effective it is. So we started by doing this in our office in Rochester. We would bring 24 to 30 people at a time into our office. On day number 1, we would do a finger stick and we'd say, this is your cholesterol, this is your blood sugar. And then we would have a program in our office that would go on from 8 o'clock in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. We had breakfast and we had lunch, and it was, kind of a lengthy in-person event. And then on day 15, we'd repeat that. They'd all come back and we'd do the finger stick again, which would be one of the best days of my life as a physician. I would say, hey, do you know your cholesterol just dropped 50 points, 60 points, 80 points? Our record is one person whose cholesterol dropped 150 points from 299 to 149. That's in 2 weeks. Now, most doctors don't know that can happen. And most people wouldn't believe that if you told them. So guess what? This isn't fake news. We're having you find out for yourself, right? So if you do the Jumpstart, you can find out whether we're making this up. And the only thing that you've invested is 2 weeks of eating what everyone agrees is pretty healthy food anyway, eating a lot of vegetables. So you really haven't lost anything, and you may gain a lot because you're going to discover that, gee, my cholesterol does really get under control quite quickly. People with diabetes, their diabetes gets under control actually pretty rapidly, to the point where we want people to tell their doctors about this before they start, because there's a good chance you're going to have to reduce or completely come off your medication. And I'm not making that up. It really does happen. We've had people one of my favorite stories is a guy who came in with a hemoglobin A1C of 13.6, and on day 1, and that means his average his average blood sugar was around 400 for the preceding 3 months. Because hemoglobin A1C is a measure of blood sugar over time. It's an average. Blood sugar goes up and down during the day. So if you stick your finger at one time during the day, you'll get a completely different reading than you would have a few hours earlier. But hemoglobin A1C is very steady because it's an average. Well, within 3 months, his hemoglobin A1C was 6.0. So he's basically no longer diabetic, and it's now 5.4. He's not on any medication for his diabetes. He never was, actually. He just came to us before he went on medication. So those are the kinds of things that really do happen. And for things like diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, and overweight, if you follow our instructions, it works for just about everybody. Now, sometimes people will ask about what about autoimmune problems like rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, some of those things, lupus. It doesn't work for everybody, but it works for a lot of people. I would say close to half. So it's really worth a try if that's one of your goals. Most people who have arthritis, it's sort of degenerative arthritis. Most of those people have an improvement, but that isn't why they're here. We've had so many people tell us, gee, I didn't even know my joints hurt, but now, yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say about it. So of course, then COVID came along, right? And then we had to stop doing it in our office. So we thought, well, that's not going to work very well, is it? And then we thought, well, maybe it will work. The only thing we can't do is the finger sticks. So we asked people to get their blood work done the week before they start, and to stick with it until at least they get their blood work done after, to find out how you do. And oftentimes people get it done a little early and they share it in the group. And we hear great stories, and it inspires the other people. We have a lot of medical people who go through this program because they want to learn how to do it. And they also want to learn how because a lot of them have illnesses and they'd like to lose weight and get their cholesterol under control. So they've learned a lot. We're working now with medical students around the country. We have a grant actually to put 50 medical students from anywhere in the country through this program. So very exciting. We've published our first article about the Jumpstart itself back in March in the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine. We have another article that's just about to be published. So, we're working really hard to advance the science of medicine. One of the problems in the medical world is that there's so many of us who know that this works. I mean, I've been doing this for 3 decades, right? Carol and I and our family, we have 3 grown children. We started doing this in 1991 after reading about the work of Dr. Dean Ornish, a cardiologist in California. So we've known about it a long time. And I sort of assumed that the whole healthcare system would change when it realized that all these things could be treated very inexpensively and very well. And of course, the thing that should catch your ear is the inexpensive part. The healthcare system is really designed to support a lot of people. And if everyone does what we're doing, it's not going to support as many people and pay as many people what they get paid. So it's interesting. We work both with the healthcare system and also outside of the healthcare system a little bit. And we're kind of taking both approaches. But Bob, is there anything else I should be covering before we move on here? What do you think? Bob's in charge of keeping me on task.
Right. Well, I just want to give a quick shout out to all of the other little rectangles
Sure.
that are up here. Let me just go down the list. These wonderful folks decided to spend some time with us to share their experience in the Jumpstart program. And I'm going to just read the list, and if you can just give a little wave, and we're going to hear from each one of them in a little while, but I just want to recognize them. So we've got Barbara. Hi, Barbara. And Brian, we already saw and heard a little bit from. And then we've got Kathleen. There she is over there. And then there's Faith. Little wave over there and a nice smile. And Helen, where's Helen? There she is up there. And then Jerry. Hi, Jerry. And Nancy. I see Nancy. And there's Paul. Say hi, Paul. Okay. All right. So yeah, so now people are like knowing what these other people that are up there that are looking wonderful, but we didn't know what they were doing. Okay. I guess we just like to talk about going further from our little local live Jumpstart into this new virtual Jumpstart as being something that has really enabled us to reach out and make connections with people, not only across the States, but even in Canada and the UK. Haven't had a chance to actually see where folks are from, but hey, you know what? If any of the attendees want to rename themselves and put a little comma with the city and state or country that they're from, that would be a lot of fun. We could just kind of scroll through that later on and see where people are from. But do you want to talk just a little bit about the Zoom Q&A protocol? But you will unmute yourself.
Right. So that's how you know you're in the age of COVID, because the most common expression you're going to hear is "you're muted." So anyway, by the way, there's somebody with their hand up. I don't know, Bubby, did you want to just see what they were, what they're interested in? Yeah. So Zoom etiquette. Obviously, you want to, if you want to be heard, you raise your hand so we can all practice. Well, I can't see people doing that. Practice raising your hand. If you have any questions, so we are using the Q&A, right?
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
well, actually later on, we could work with the virtual hands, okay? Because the Q&A section is going to come after the presentation. So the nice thing about the digital hand is Maria holding it up there isn't even getting tired. So she can hold her hand up there as long as she wants. And she could be first in the queue to get the question. Also, you can type your questions into the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can type your questions into the Q&A, and we'll be watching all of them and kind of rotating around and hopefully getting a chance to answer everybody's questions.
Exactly. So one of the important things about the Jumpstart is we do want people to work with their physician. So we like you to see your doctor before and after, or whoever your provider is, and they can order those labs. Back when we were doing it live in our office, we had somebody from Rochester Lifestyle Medicine would be able to see you, but that's not really possible anymore. So, and it's worked out fine. We're not competing with your doctor anyway. We really want to help you, your doctor. And now we have doctors that work with us all over the country. It's really fun. We get doctors who send us patients. We have no idea who the doctor is. They just somehow found out about us. But it's a really nice thing to be seen before and after. Especially, if you're going to have blood pressure medication adjustments or blood sugar, diabetic medication, that type of thing. So I think that's kind of enough of that, Bob. I'd love to hear from the people on the panel. What do you think? Not ready for that yet?
Nope, that's not quite how the agenda is written.
Okay, Bob's going to force me back on the agenda. Okay, get me back on track.
But now is basically what we want people to know is what is the schedule of the Jumpstart. If anybody decides that they're going to take the Jumpstart, what can they expect? So I'm just going to share my screen for a few minutes, and then we're going to get to the panelists. Let me just find my appropriate window. Don't want to share an inappropriate window. Okay, and hopefully everybody is seeing a calendar. Okay, I'm gonna assume the silence means yes. And hopefully we go to my nice full screen. Okay, so this is the calendar for our August Jumpstart. And we're actually up here. You can see my little cursor. We're in July on a Wednesday evening, 1 week before this Jumpstart is going to begin. The first thing that's going to happen for anybody that signs up for the Jumpstart will be on Monday. Monday evening, we will email you a link that will get you into our Google Classroom, and there will be a package of information. Because, there's going to be some medical presentations, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what people will be learning in a few minutes. But the biggest question, especially as soon as you decide you're going to do it, is what am I going to eat and how am I going to shop? And that's what we want to communicate to everybody. So coming Monday evening is a package with your accounts for you to be able to log into the computers and shopping lists. And one of the things that we also provide is if people want suggestions for what they can eat for 2 weeks, we map out, that's week 1 and week 2 of breakfasts, lunches, and dinners and snacks. And what's really nice about this is we also include a shopping list. Now, this is only a suggestion, and if you're the kind of person that is confident enough to be able to find their own recipes and know what they want to eat, then that's fine. But if you would like, a little bit of hand holding, we can do that, and we want to accommodate all different types of cooks and of participants. Back to the calendar. Next Wednesday is what we call our check-in. This is where we make sure that everybody is connected. We make sure that you can get into Zoom. Now, we know everybody here can get into Zoom, but some of the people that registered other ways might not be able to. We want to make sure that you can get into the Google Classroom, and we want to make sure that you really have an idea of what you're going to be buying and eating for those 2 weeks. This is not an official day as far as Jumpstart goes, but this is what Dr. Barnett was talking about in terms of getting those labs. One of the most wonderful things that people get out of this is after 2 weeks, looking at their weight, looking at their various numbers, whatever it is that they're trying to work on, and see what kind of a difference and improvement they realized in just 2 weeks. And the best way to do that is to get some numbers. Now, if you've had blood work done pretty recently and you haven't made any major changes to your diet, then you're probably okay. But you know, if you can get in with your provider and let them know what you're doing, and if you can get a quick lipid and glucose test, then that'll just give you that much more information to be able to evaluate whether or not this kind of a change works for you. Oh, and this is just a part of the package is a letter. So if people don't know how to tell their primary what they're doing, you could just put the name of your provider up there and your name, and then this lets them know. You can also just copy and paste this into a portal when you send your provider a message. And if you're still having trouble, we're here to help you. We could even make a phone call for you. But then you get to day one, which is going to be on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And this is where it starts to get real. Okay. And what we do is we go through the relationships between food and chronic disease. How does what you eat affect your health, and what we call like the standard American diet, SAD, and the connection between the makeup of food and these different diseases. And then we talk about our own behavior change. What is it that it takes for us to be able to make a change in our life? And we use something called self-determination theory, which was developed in Rochester, which has 3 components: autonomy, which is your own will, your desire. And I think someone might have been talking about some gentle arm twisting. It might have been, previous to the beginning of the webinar, or whether or not you have it in your heart that you want to do this, and how we can go from being externally motivated and then moving that needle over to you internally recognizing that this is a good decision. Competence. It doesn't really take too long to convince many people that eating this way is a good thing for them. But once you've been convinced, how do you do it? That's the competence, and that's what we're here for. And then relatedness. Just this whole idea of announcing to the world that you're eating only plants, and your world is changing. A lot of people don't get it. Some people support, some people resist, and we've got strategies for how to deal with that. I just touched on that, the whole spectrum of diets and nutrition, so we know what we've been eating and what we want to eat. And then what is our very low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet all about? Also known as an Esselstyn style diet, made famous for reversing various chronic conditions. So that all happens on day one. Day two is our cooking class, and this gets to the competence. This is also, and Bubby shaking her head, Bubby is our hostess for the day two cooking class. And we have the cooking class as part of the curriculum. So what you can use, and this is all part of that package that we give you back the Monday before, is the Jumpstart cooking demonstration developed by a gal by the name of Ann Pampa. She's another force of nature with various tips on how you can prepare your ingredients and keep things clean and keep in the refrigerator. And then a whole series of recipes, and she covers just about all of these. A busy day soup, dressings, 4-bean salad, hummus with a hummus dressing, kale chips, baked chickpeas, a real nice snack, salsa. I don't think that's part of it, but salsa is pretty easy. Veggie stock, and then the basics: rice, lentils, quinoa, sauteing veggies without oil. That's a big thing. Don't get scared. It is doable. And then full dishes like a grain bowl and something called pesto pesto. And then finally a fruit sorbet for dessert. And she does all of this. And when she did it live, she tuckered out 4 volunteers. They were all like completely beat at the end of the day. So we do recommend people come to that. Day 5 is our check-in. How is everybody doing? You know, you've been doing this now for 4 days. Let's get some feedback. Let's share some successes. And if there's challenges, let's deal with them. So it'll be just like this kind of a meeting where we'll all be together. It's much more casual, no formal presentation, but it's usually a lot of fun. People get a chance to know each other. On day 8, 1 week in, that's our virtual potluck. And this is where at the halfway point, people get a chance to see just how successful they can really be. And it's amazing to me that every week, every Jumpstart, after 1 week, everybody submits a recipe. They send me a picture and a title and ingredients and instructions. And it could be simple, like quick, creamy grits, or it can have much more ingredients, and it's okay. It can be as fancy as you want or as simple as you want, because all these things have a place. But all these pages that you're seeing were just submitted this past Jumpstart by people that you know, didn't necessarily think they were going to be doing this at all when they first started. And everybody is just doing such a great job. Things come from all over the world. And it's just a ball. And at the end, everybody gets to take everybody else's recipes home. So it's just a lot of fun, you know, little nice Applebee ginger raw. I'm getting kind of thirsty, actually. It's looking good. This actually is Dr. Friedman. She decided to take our Jumpstart, and she made herself Dr. Sue's stew, which came out real nice, looks like. And then a nice sweet potato breakfast bowl. So yeah, so you might have find some new ideas about what breakfast means, including greens, which Dr. Veggie will talk about. Day 12 is just another Wednesday check-in, but again, you know, very constructive. Now the Friday, 2 weeks later, if you can, we recommend that people get their numbers again. You know, either on the Friday or the Saturday, get your labs drawn. And this way you will see what kind of progress you've made. And you can bring it in for the last day, day 15, our commencement and next steps. People come in and they share how they did, just like the folks that you're going to hear from in a few minutes. And it's just always fun. And people are really very, very pleasantly surprised at the kind of results that they get. And it's just also a good time to evaluate where we are and where we're going. And there's a couple of other little additional program features and support. Everybody who is in the Jumpstart will get daily emails, both reminding them about what the specific agenda events are, but also just general tips about, you know, different kinds of situations, social situations, the green of the day, all kinds of very helpful messages. But it's not just one way. You can email us whenever you have questions, because one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is being responsive to people. We don't want you out there in a vacuum with having, you know, any kind of issues, problems, or questions. So we're here and we get back to you right away if you email. There's the whole Google Classroom, which is just a wonderful environment and it's all private. It's the same environment that they use for school kids. So there's all kinds of protections, and as well as HIPAA compliant. So the data is all secure. Within the classroom, there is a stream or a forum, which is kind of like Facebook, but they don't invade your privacy. And people have a wonderful time just posting questions or comments or pictures of things that they've made. And then there's all kinds of class resources. There's handouts, there's information about different nutrients or issues. There's videos, there's all kinds of things that are available in the Google Classroom. And then when you're done, there is the alumni group. And we are very excited about just announcing our new interactive Jumpstart style alumni group. Previously to this, we had a Facebook group, and that was nice. There's like 300 members in that. But people wanted meetings, and so that's what we're doing. We're going to be doing more Jumpstart style meetings. So these are some additional program features. Now, we're just getting ready to queue up everybody's Jumpstart testimonials. I just wanted to share a couple of pictures of me, because not only do I do the technical stuff, but I've changed quite a bit since I first became plant-based. I was well over 300 pounds and a meat eater. And you see that kind of relationship there, you know, butter and animal products. I was here with my little brother, literally, yeah, I was here with my wife, and my father photoshopped my head on Superman's body at one point, and it was kind of horribly ironic. But you know, 5 years later, this was just the other night, we went out for a dinner, and I just am feeling so much better since I did this. And if there are people out there that are struggling with obesity, I understand your pain and the challenges, and you know, I will certainly be here to do whatever I can to help people to be able to enjoy this, because I was a yo-yo dieter my whole life, and now I can just eat plants, and I am not really dieting at all anymore. So that's just my little story. And that's how the Jumpstart works.
Wow,
So,
thank you, Bob. That was a great
yeah.
introduction. Yeah, yeah. Awesome. So
It's
what's
in that fruit
next?
juice. Okay, well, now it's time to bring on our stars, our guests.
All right.
And I guess we would start with Barbara, if she wants to tell us her story.
Hi, everyone. I just want to say it's never too early or too late to make this change. I took Jumpstart. Actually, my daughter offered me the Jumpstart program as a birthday present. My daughter and son-in-law have been plant-based for a few years, so I've been exposed to it. And I had been starting to incorporate some plant-based meals into my husband and I diet. What I wanted to get out of the program was I really wanted it to be that jumpstart, that push that made me jump in and just finally do it. And that's what it did. I had great results. My primary care physician was very surprised and very impressed in the changes in the 2-week period. So I've been talking up the program, and it's not hard to do. There's lots of recipes out there. It's amazing once you start looking how many recipes are. The food's delicious. Cleanup's a breeze because you're not using oils and grease. So everything just cleans up uber easy. It's been going really well for me. I've gone away on vacation with family, and we just meal planned, and I got had get-togethers. We've been out to restaurants a few times, and I just look at the menu ahead of time and have a game plan of what I'm going to get, so I don't sit there and get sucked into something I shouldn't. Just starting to expose more people, and people are liking things. I make a sweet potato black bean, not doing the whole food plant-based. So once you kind of start to get people to try things, they're very surprised at how good it tastes. They think everything we're eating is like Yule Gibbons, nuts and twigs kind of a thing.
Right.
So yeah, so I hope you all give it a try, and and if it doesn't work or you don't like it, fine, but give it a try and see what it'll do for you. And it's not hard to keep on going. You really feel good, and it's not difficult. It really isn't.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Really appreciate that. It's a great testimonial. Yeah, who's next, Bob?
Ryan.
You are. Oh, Brian.
Brian, yeah. Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that, I've been vegan for 7 years and predominantly whole food plant-based, but I really wanted to experience Jumpstart and learn more because, there's always more to learn, and the staff is just, they're experts at this, and there is a lot that I did learn, which I'm grateful for. And it really did reinforce my lifestyle. I think the biggest impact to me personally is it really motivated me to get more involved in meal planning and meal preparation, which are two things that I really never did much of. So being with that group of people for 2 weeks really inspired me and motivated me to do that. So that was a big outcome. I think too, the small group environment, it was really nice to hear, different people's experiences, their challenges, as well as their successes, because it was so inspiring to see how people were getting great improvements. So that was a lot of fun. And the daily emails were neat. They were short, motivational, and they included a little video. Every email has a video from nutritionfacts.org. They're like 5 minutes or so, and it covers a really important topic pertaining to whole food plant-based. So I think overall it's great for beginners. If you don't know anything about this, it's a great way to get going. You're given all the tools. And if you're more experienced with nutrition and diet, it's great for you as well, because like I said earlier, you can always learn more. So that was my experience.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. Yeah. All right, who's next?
Me,
Okay.
Kathleen.
Oh,
You know the order.
She knows the order. Perfect. Hi, Kathleen. How's it going?
Going great. So I did Jumpstart in January 2019.
Has it been that long? Wow. Okay.
I was very fortunate to be there in person and actually have my fingers stuck and get the results right there. And so I would encourage any. There's no disputing the results. It's just kind of amazing what happens in 2 weeks' time. So let's see. I started for weight loss as well. I ended up losing about 20 pounds, which was kind of my goal, but I had struggled to lose that weight for a long time. And I just would encourage you, if you're going to do this, to stick with it like maybe 6 to 8 weeks, because there was this moment where it's just profound sense of well-being. For my husband did this with me as well. So for both of us, and it happened around the same weekend, I think. We were just like, oh my gosh, this is really different. So my knees stopped hurting. I struggled with asthma. I have not used my asthma medication in a very long time. We're both extremely active. I come from a really big family. My siblings are all starting to struggle with, diabetes and cholesterol issues. So far, so good for me. Absolutely no meds. So, go for it. It's profound. For me, it was really profound, and I'm just really grateful.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Welcome.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. Who's next?
Well, that would be Faith.
Faith. Where's Faith? She is. Hi,
Good
Faith.
evening, everyone. Hello. Good evening, everyone. So for me, I was kind of the support person for a group that decided to do the 15-day Jumpstart last month, so for July. And I also wanted to be a part of it, and I like to make sure that I kind of practice what I preach. So I was just looking for a physician at the time, and I took them the plan. So it's a physician I've never been to. I took her the plan, and she was elated. She was so excited. She's like, this is what the evidence is saying. This is the only thing, that is proven to work to reverse diabetes, heart disease. So she was beyond excited. She's like, I'd love to bring this program. It's a big clinic out here that I go to. So that was really interesting. I was really shocked by her reaction and encouraged. So I did want to work. Diabetes is like the disease of choice that attacks my family. And so I did want to really continue to be vigilant. And so I did have some goals of my own. And so I was really, really happy because I just retested my blood work. So I dropped 13 points. So now I'm out of that, just bridging into the pre-diabetic, phase. So I'm away from that. So I'm really, really grateful. Thank you. All of the numbers were fantastic. And I'd say that if someone were starting, I would say for sure, give it 24 hours. Read through all the materials, because the takeaway for me, because I had people, I was supposed to be the support person, and I had people that were just really scared to do this. And so the takeaway, I think, that really helped me help other people was do it for 24 hours. It's not like you can't eat anything. Eat eat clean for 24 hours. And that really did the trick, because then it's a mental game. It gets into your head when you see, I can't have any oil, or I can't have avocados, and you can. You're just not conditioned to eat this way. So that's what I would have to say. And lastly, I would say, you've got to do it. If you're ever planning on doing whole food, plant-based, and a jumpstart like this, you want to do it in this community. I was really overwhelmed and a little shocked by how authentic the staff is. And I think that you're just going to find that if there's ever a lifestyle change that you want to make, you can do it with this group. So thank you all.
Wow, that's really nice. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. So I guess we're authentic, guys. Well, I knew that. They're all authentic. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. All right, who's next?
Okay, Helen.
Hi, so I'm Helen, and I did the Jumpstart in January. So I've been doing this for 6 months, kind of lifestyle change. And what motivated me was my daughter actually wanted to do it for continuing education credits. And so she said, will you do it with me? And she lived in New Hampshire and I lived in New York. So we did it together. And then I found that we had about 40 people on our Zoom group, and they were really helpful and supportive. And I wanted to lower my cholesterol because it was in the range of needing what the doctor would want to have me on statins. And I wanted to lose some weight, and my glucose was up near the borderline. And so in 2 weeks, my cholesterol went down 45 points. My glucose went down 10 points. And my weight went down 4 points, and now 4 pounds. And now 6 months, it's gone down 10 pounds. And I feel really great. And, it's like not carrying around 10 pounds of potatoes is really great. So my husband now has joined the program. He was resistant, but he has a heart condition and he's no longer on statins. And so his statins made him feel super sick. And so he's committed to doing the low-fat, whole food, plant-based. And I would say the hardest thing for me was, like most people, we like food and we like group, and being kind of committed to doing this, you develop a new rhythm and new favorites. And now I just have a whole bunch of new favorites. And so I don't look back and say, oh, I wish I could eat this, because I have lots of go-to favorites. And I learned how to prepare things in my refrigerator and have them available. So I'm never hungry and I'm never without food that's easily accessible. So those things really helped me, and the group helped me figure out how to do that.
Helen, that's so interesting. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Jerry.
Yes. So I was one of the people strongly encouraged by faith to take the leap. And I resisted until the day before it started. And I was like, fine, I can do anything for 2 weeks. And so I did try it, and I was pleasantly surprised that it was easier to do than I thought it would be. At first, I was thinking all of the things I couldn't eat. And when I switched that mindset of, there's a lot of things on this list that you do love that you can still eat, and just prepare them differently. And once I did that, then I was able to stick with it. I didn't get hungry. I didn't get a lot of cravings, and I found it quite easy to stick with. And then I was very surprised by the results. I've been on statins my whole adult life, and the doctor said that would get my cholesterol below 200, and it never has. It's still always been above, and they've just doubled it 6 months ago, and it's still above 200. And so I'm like, what do I have to lose with this? Nothing else the doctors said worked. So this did work. My cholesterol did go down below 200. It went down 42 points. And my LDL went down 20 points, and I lost 9 pounds. And that's all I needed to keep going. It's like, okay, it works. And when nothing else has worked that I've tried, I've been on 100 diets. I tried low fat, I tried the statins and double the statins. So this really worked for me. And so now I'm Faith's biggest cheerleader. Because if I could do this, anybody could do this.
Oh, Jerry, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate that.
So did we call that the leap of faith?
The leap of-
That is now called the leap of faith.
All right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, like Faith's never heard that before. Anyway.
Actually, Bob, I just want to ask Jerry a question if I could.
Sure.
So, I mean, obviously this is a different kind of an eating program. Do you feel like you're on a diet now, or is it?
No, I don't feel like it's a diet. I think what worked for me is like when I saw those recipes, I was like, yeah, I don't like half the things on this list. But when I just started differently and just take out the meat, it's like I already eat beans and rice. I already like that. So now instead of beef tacos, I put beans and rice on my taco. And just small changes like that helped me just, so I didn't significantly change my flavor palette. Just took a bunch of stuff out and added a bunch more vegetables in.
Good. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it really is that simple. You know, it's not complicated. And as I said before, and as Jerry and others have echoed, you're not hungry. We want you to be able to eat whatever you want, whenever you want, just eat the right food. And it's going to be, you know, nourishing and not fattening. And then it just works. So let's see, now we're up to Nancy.
Hello, I'm Nancy. I got into the Jumpstart program through my doctor. I went and I turned 65, had my cholesterol tested, and it was up near 250, a huge jump from last time I had it tested. I didn't want to go on medication. Around that time, my husband had a heart attack. And so my doctor recommended this program. And I loved fruits and vegetables and was really into eating beans because my kids were vegan and vegetarian. But I always struggled with feeling good. I would have headaches and upset stomachs, and it was a challenge. It was like a work and a job to eat and to figure out, you know, what would make my body happy. And I always gained weight in the winter and would work real hard to lose it in the summer. And since I've been on this program, my cholesterol went in the 2 weeks, dropped 70 points, and I lost 7 pounds, and I've kept it off. And I just love that I don't have to, I can trust this program. I know what I'm eating is healthy, and it's simple because I just follow the plan. I know it's healthy. I can eat till I'm full, and I go to bed not feeling hungry, but I wake up in the morning hungry, and that feels good. So it's really changed how I'm my whole refrigerator and pantry's changed, how I'm shopping. But I have to say, it's really made it more simple because it's taken all this garbage out, and I'm just loving it.
That's great. Thank you so much, Nan.
Okay. And then last but not least, Paul.
Definitely not least.
Well, my name's Paul. I'm trying to think what best is. I've kind of been a foot dragger for a while. I was contemplating being a vegan for a long time until I finally took the plunge with the vegan plan that was in Rochester. It was a vegan center there for a while, and I was part of that. That's where I met Bob Frankie. Some dramatic things happened when I became vegan. My weight got better. All these things, health things, got great. But you can learn. So you learn how you taking care of yourself kind of becomes automatic if you're going to be a vegan. That's what I thought. But after a while, I learned how I could kill myself and not be vegan and still be vegan. And so eventually, what I needed to do is I needed to take the next step, which was a whole food plant-based. And so I enrolled in the 15-day Jumpstart because you can do anything in 15 days. And I did. And my numbers went down. I just came off a physical with my doctor, and she had said, you know, you got to get your blood pressure down, or I'm going to have to do some things. And I had troubles with, like, my feet were swelling up. I was getting too much salt in my diet, I noticed. And I mean, my other numbers were still pretty good. But after the Jumpstart program, my numbers went way, I mean, my cholesterol was like, people would say they would pay for those numbers. Well, you pay for these numbers when you don't get on the program. I lost 10 pounds easy, probably more, but within that period of time. And not only have I maintained that weight loss since the program ended, but I've kept it off. I was in a program probably just before Helen was. And it's just been a wonderful experience. One of the things you learn, remember I mentioned how I was vegan and I maintained that vegan lifestyle, but I added to it whole food plant-based. Well, I go to the store now and I buy real food. I used to like to buy vegan ice cream, and that'll put the weight back on. I don't do that anymore. I eat more oatmeal now than I ever used to. As a matter of fact, every morning I have either oatmeal or shredded wheat, very simply. And and there's one other thing that I remember from the program, the three things: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. And you definitely get involved in those three, and I became much more competent in how I pursue my lifestyle. And one of the things that I take away very much so is the relatedness, because, you know, sometimes being a vegan society makes you sometimes an outcast of sorts, and it's nice to have fellow members of the community that kind of support you. And so I got that for sure.
Great. Yeah. Paul, thank you so much, and congratulations. Yeah, that's great. Thank you all for participating. So Bob, is it time to answer some questions here?
Well, yeah. I think Bubby's got some questions from the chat queued up, so we'll see what she's got.
Awesome. So I'm going to start with the questions that were in the chat box, and then I'm going to move into the Q&A box. So the first one, somebody's asking, before the cooking demo, will we have ideas about how to saute without oil? That's a big yes. You will be seeing it's Bob's video, actually, I think, right, Bob, on day one about how to saute without oil. Also, ideas for go-to meals when working at home and how to navigate to the fridge instead of the pantry with the crackers. Yes. in your Jumpstart guide and in the Jumpstart book, it is absolutely filled with ideas. So hopefully that will make some choices easier for you, and you can also lean on your fellow travelers. That goes with the relatedness. People will be sharing their ideas all over. So here's one for Dr. Ted. As far as the blood work, are we tested for fasting glucose or an A1C?
So great question, and that's from I'm not sure where you're from, but I'm assuming you're not from Rochester. What you want to do is you want to work with your doctor to get those ordered. We won't be ordering those tests for you, but basically you just want to get a lipid panel, which includes cholesterol, LDL, triglycerides. If you just get a lipid panel, those will all be on there, so you don't have to remember those specific things. We also want you to get a fasting blood sugar, and that's important to find out if whether you might be a diabetic or pre-diabetic. We don't necessarily get a hemoglobin A1C on everybody, but if you have diabetes and you've had an elevated hemoglobin A1C, then yes, you should get that drawn. And then one other test would be a C-reactive protein. Some people are interested in getting that. That's a marker of inflammation and also heart disease risk. So that's one test that's becoming a little more popular among people doing the Jumpstart. We've talked about it in the past, but I think it's something we're going to start recommending more. So C-reactive protein is very interesting because it shows you how much inflammation is in your body, and it can come down fairly quickly as well. So it's another test that can give you some indication of how you're doing, and it's great positive reinforcement. I think these tests, they're what I call motivational. It's motivational testing. When you find out how your tests do over a period of time, especially a short period of time, it can be very reinforcing for what you're doing. So yeah, those so lipid panel and glucose, those are the basic ones. Adding a hemoglobin A1C if you might be diabetic or are diabetic, and then a C-reactive protein, especially if you're concerned about heart disease or arthritis or something like that. Yeah, go ahead, Bubby.
Thank you. Next question is from our new friend Nan. Is seitan or vital wheat gluten an acceptable protein substitute?
So great question. So first of all, one of the things that we learn in this program is that we don't worry too much about protein. So, and I know that's hard for a lot of people to wrap their minds around, but protein is in everything. It's in grains, it's in beans, it's in vegetables, it's in salad. Basically what your goal is to get about somewhere maybe 7% of your calories to come from protein, so you don't become protein deficient. So as long as you're getting over 7% of your calories from protein, you're not going to have a problem. There's almost no food that's a whole food that's less than 10% calories from protein. Even white potatoes are 10% calories from protein. Beans are in the 20 to 30% range for protein. And again, anything over 7% is all you need. Most grains are about 14 or 15% calories from protein. So it's really not a big issue. Now, specifically to that question, that would be considered a fractionated food, because in order for seitan to be extracted from the wheat, it's no longer a whole food. And what we're trying to teach people is to eat whole foods. If you want to eat wheat, whole wheat pasta, or even better, wheat berries, the whole grain, that's fantastic. But seitan wouldn't be allowed on this anyway because it's not a whole food. And we go into great detail about what whole food is. And remember, you're only doing this for 2 weeks. So if you don't like the idea, just keep reminding yourself it's just 2 weeks. So it's not a whole food. And also, and also you don't need to really worry about protein.
Yep.
So, yep.
So we are at exactly 7:30, but there are 2 questions left that I hope we can get answered quickly, if that's okay with everyone.
Sure.
How do you address eating the wrong foods even when you know what the right foods are?
That is an interesting question. That seems more like a psychology kind of question. And I'm going to ask Bubby to answer that one.
So all I can tell you is that I'm going to try and answer this succinctly, is that once you make up your mind that this is how you're going to eat, and it's 15 days we're asking you to commit to, make up your mind to do it. And if you make that commitment and you just let things happen, I can darn near guarantee that you will start to crave the healthier foods. You'll start to crave the better choices. I will never forget the first day that I craved an orange, and that was like strange, but it will happen. It's just a matter of committing to it and keep confirming to yourself that this is the choice that you want to make. We'll definitely be talking about that more in the meetings, and also in the stream, in the Jumpstart stream in the Google Classroom. But yes, it's just a matter of time. So
Mhm.
great question. And then this other one, I swear this
Well,
is.
before we move
Yes.
on though, I'm just curious if any of our panelists, encountered similar cravings. I see Kathleen chatted about, things kind of going away naturally, but what about in that moment? Does anybody have a story of a face-off between a piece of cheesecake or a chicken wing or something like that? Barbara, you're smiling, I see. And Jerry just popped back on.
I
For
only
me-
had cravings once for chicken, and it's not like I had chicken at home, so I wasn't going to go out to get chicken. So not having it in the house helps.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay, and
I think
Barbara?
that's where the new favorites come in. You have to have favorites available that are within the boundary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was going to be harder for me to give up eggs and cheese. But I was surprised. Once I started on day one, nope, I can't have that. And I just substituted other stuff that I was allowed. And I was surprised it was easier staying away from that than I had expected. I thought I would really struggle. So once you kind of commit, that's the key. You just got to commit 2 weeks. You can do it in 2 weeks.
Thanks. Yeah. One of Bob's rules is if you got a craving, eat something.
Yeah.
Even if it's not what you're craving, eat it, because you're fighting two things. You're fighting probably real hunger, and you're fighting this psychological craving. If you can at least make sure that you're not physically hungry and take a few minutes to actually eat something and then regroup, then that gives you a chance to catch your breath, and then you can really decide, do I really want that cheesecake, or is that, my tongue just trying to, bounce me around?
Excellent. And then this question from our friend Guy, or Guy, however you pronounce it, is the best question. Dr. Esselstyn stresses eating greens daily. What does this program teach regarding eating greens?
So we want you to eat lots and lots of greens. And this program is actually based on the Esselstyn program. I'm good friends with Dr. Esselstyn. And the people on this little screen can tell you that I often start the meeting by being very rude and eating in front of everybody, just so it feels normal and to be eating greens all day long, starting with breakfast. So Guy or Guy, we assume that you must already know about Dr. Esselstyn, and you must already be something of an expert if you know that. So I'm gonna, while you're finding another question, I'm gonna actually eat this.
Awesome, great. And let's see, hang on, I had one here. So what date should we do the blood work? I can take that if you're chewing, Dr. Veggie. So we want you, if you can get initial blood work done, about the week before the program starts. You don't have to start changing the way you eat until that day one, because we want you to have super good results and accurate results based on just making these changes in a really dramatic and fruitful way, no pun intended. But if you can get your blood work done a couple days before the program starts, and then again right after it ends, and then you can compare the two results. So
yeah, well, actually, if you can get it just a day or so before it ends, then this way, it's fun to share.
Yeah. And let's see.
There was someone who asked a question about kidneys, and I put an answer in the Q&A, so now it's under answered questions if you want to check at that. But yeah, this is anybody with kidney disease. We work very closely with the nephrology department at the University of Rochester. In fact, we're part of one of their research protocols. But yeah, it's fine. It's actually better than the standard American diet by quite a lot. So.
Okay, and then we had, and I just actually typed the answer, so it's going to show up in the answered one. Somebody was asking specifically about the program. Is there a specific plan? Absolutely, we put one in our fabulous and fantastic Jumpstart guide. If you just like to be told what to do and you like that structure, we make that available to you. But you're also encouraged to make your own choices based on your preferences, and we'll help you, we'll support you through that as you try and navigate what are the best choices. We'll help you do that as well. So you've got kind of the flexibility to go whatever way works for you.
Yeah, actually, just to fill in before we break up on that, we in the Jumpstart guide list a lot of things. We list what you can order in lots of different restaurants. We have lots of different brands that are Jumpstart compliant. And yes, there are some very specific instructions, but what we really want is for people to be able to judge any new situation or any product by themselves and teach them the skills, be able to turn that package over. Never mind what it says on the front, because they can say whatever they want on the front. Look at the label where they can't lie. Look at the ingredients and look at the nutrition. And then when you get that skill, then any product on any shelf, you can make that determination yourself. And the same thing with going out or going over to families or friends, learning the skills of how to speak to people and just let people know what you're up to. And see if they can kind of cooperate with you, because most people do. Most people, when somebody's serving you food, whether it's a relative or a restaurant, they want you to be happy, and they are willing to work with you. So just a little bit of forethought and communication goes a long way.
How soon before day one do we receive the menu? And
that's the Monday before.
Yep.
Right.
Bring my calendar back up.
Just to remind everybody, we have a day one, but we also have a day -3 or a day -4. That's Wednesday before it starts. Now the Jumpstart in August is the first time we're actually starting on Sundays. We're going to do that at intervals, just because there's some people who can't start on a Saturday for personal or religious reasons. So it's going to be day -4, the Wednesday before the next one. But we do that so people can check their Zoom connections, understand the menus and things. But you don't really start the diet until day 1, which is either going to be Saturday or Sunday.
Great.
Yeah.
And I think we've answered all the questions.
Am I hearing crickets?
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
Or is that the audience?
No, they're actually exactly. So everybody on this screen, we're going to unmute. Okay. In fact, can people do that people can do that in the audience too, right, Bob? Or you can unmute them or not?
That's a good question. I don't know if I can just do a blanket unmute. Let's see. Well, there's not too many people here. I'm going to allow to talk.
All right, we got like 22 people out there in the audience. So, oh, look, they're all appearing.
Yeah. Oh, how fun is this?
Oh, this is great. I love it.
That's a little demonstration between the difference between a webinar and a regular Zoom meeting. So.
I'm able to get people. The names are kind of jumping around like jumping beans.
Okay. All right. I guess we can do it one at a time. Perfect. All right. So everybody, I'm going to count to 3 and then we're going to all say goodbye. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Goodbye.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, panelists. You were wonderful.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.